ثُمَّ بَعَثْنَاهُمْ لِنَعْلَمَ أَيُّ الْحِزْبَيْنِ أَحْصَى لِمَا لَبِثُوا أَمَدًا. Suratul-Kahfi, Surah number 18, ayat number 12. ثُمَّ, then. بَعَثْنَاهُمْ, we send them back. لِنَعْلَمَ, so that we would make known. Ayyu, which? Al-Hizbaini, the two parties. Ayyu al-Hizbaini. Ayyu al-Hizbaini, it's an idafa construct. So the word of will come in between these two words. So the translation will be, as to which of the two parties ahsa. This is in the af'alu pattern. It's comparative. So adjective and comparative. So in that pattern, counts better. Lima is for what. So in this context, we would translate it as for how long, or as to with regards to how long. Labithu, they had remained. Amadan, in terms of time duration. So let's delve a little bit more in depth now. Thumma is then. Now if we want to distinguish between fa then and thumma then, and fa will have other meanings, thumma will have other meanings, but they can be compared with respect to this meaning then. So what is the difference? The difference would be, so as compared to fa, thumma would be a delayed then. So fa would be then, but it will be closer in proximity, and thumma, if the word thumma is used, then it will be a delayed sort of timeline. So in that connotation, the word thumma is used because after they were put in that state, I am refraining from the word asleep, because they were not in a state of sleep, as I had explained in connection to our discussion during our last verse, during verse number 11. So a time lag had passed since that time, and now something is happening to them. Thumma, then. So after the time lag, we have already come across, it was years, a certain number. The exact number will come later in this story, but whatever. So ba'athnahum, easy construct. Ba'atha, he sent. Ba'athna, we sent. Whom is the attached pronoun? So we send them. We send them back. Now what is happening over here? Many of the translators or scholars, they have translated as we awaken them. Now why have they translated as we awaken them, or we made them arise? Because they are assuming that they were made to be in a state of sleep, right? Which is not the case. And there are multiple words used in the story itself which highlights that. Part of which has already passed in the last verse, and part of it will come in the upcoming verses. Even the word ba'atha, if you look at the dictionary meaning, it is he sent. Ba'atha is he sent. Suddenly, why do you change the meaning? So that's not allowed. So you change the meaning because you don't understand the context, what's happening over here. But now if we relate it with the previous verse, it's absolutely okay. This is another indication as to whatever we have explained is the possible explanation, the way we have done so. So they were put into that state, and from that state they are being sent back to this state. Which state? The worldly dimensions, so to speak. So then we send them back. Li na'lama. Li is so that. Na'lama, alima ya'lamu, from there. Li is forcing it to be in the nasr pattern. And na'lama, na'lamu, na'lama. So we would know, or we would know. But here Allah already knows. So the intent is we would make known about what is happening with these youths, right? Ayyu al-Hizbaini, I have clarified. So in a running translation, these additional words are required. As to which of the two parties, ahsa, I have explained, that's in the af'alu pattern. It's a verb. It's a what should I say? It's a comparative. So adjective, comparative, superlative. So it's in that pattern. Counts better. So not just counts better. Lima, for what? So if we translate it simply also, we will get the sense, and then I'll explain why the way we have translated is slightly better than the just word-to-word translation. For what they remained in time, right? it sounds not a free-flowing, not very good English. So for what is highlighting, is talking about the time. So for what duration, sort of. So for how long, we can use the word how long. For how long, with regards to how long, labisu, they had remained. This is okay. Amadan is in terms of time duration. So in terms of time duration. So this is the explanation. Okay. Again, Arabic is a very rich language. English many times, I mean, for example, when we're translating fa, we're translating as then. When we're translating thumma, we're translating as then. But if you look at the English translation, we have no way to get back to the original Arabic word used in the Quran, whether it was fa, whether it was thumma, we don't know. So in that sense, I mean, the then is used, which is okay, but there are nuances associated which the Arabic is able to capture, but for the lack of equivalent words in the English language, many times those are deficient in translations. Those do not capture the full connotation. They capture partial connotation, definitely, yes, but they don't capture the full connotation. Similar with Amadan as well. It's time, fine. But there are different words. I mean, there are different words to represent time in the Arabic language. For example, the most common would be waqt. Then there is sa. Then there is zaman. Then there is dahr, asr. So many words are there. There are other words as well. So Amadan, sort of, you can say, it's time, that's fine, but there is a sense of purpose associated with this concept of time. There's a sense of purpose. So they had fulfilled the purpose. They were put in that state, and then something happened. We'll get to know in the story what happened. Then they are transferred back to the worldly dimensions. We'll get to know about that as well. You remember I told that verse number 9 and 10 acts as a pre-introduction. Verse number 11 and 12 is acting as an introduction to the story. And when we reach verse number 13, we'll actually get the full story. At that time, even if you read the story without verse number 9, 10, 11, 12, you'll still have the full story with you. So it has its own purpose. It's a very powerful storytelling. It's a very powerful narrative which Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is using. It is impossible that we can ever replicate the usage of this language. Arabic is known to so many people, but how Arabic is used in a way which makes it so profound is something we can at best appreciate. We can't replicate that. Okay, so that sense of purpose associated with time is being highlighted with the use of the word Amadan over here. They had remained in terms of time duration. Okay, we understand the sense in the English language, but we delve deeper through these explanations. The understanding becomes so much more profound. Is that what I'm trying to highlight to you? They had remained in terms of time duration, and the sense of purpose was also now achieved. There was a purpose associated with the story, with what was happening to them, and now that purpose is fulfilled and they are transferred back. Now they are being transferred back to the worldly dimensions, and then things will happen and they will interact with people and things will happen. That's an interesting story by itself. Right. So this was the verse. We'll again, I think I've explained every nuance in this verse. So we will have one more iteration of a free-flowing rapid translation before we conclude the session. ثم بعثناهم لنعلم أي الحزبين أحصى لما لبثوا أمدا. Then we send them back so that we would make known as to which of the two parties counts better with regards to how long they had remained in terms of time duration. So that's it with verse number 12. In the next session, we'll continue with verse number 13.